can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring out of strings, spring became the summer. Would have believed you'd come along. Hands touching hands, reaching out, dear Lord, touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline.
Bum, bum, bum. But you know what all comes at? Navarre on a 6-game winning streak. What is the winning streak, Coach? What is it, Coach?
All right, you guys, let's listen up. We won a game yesterday. If we win one today, that's 2 in a row. We win one tomorrow, that's called a winning streak.
There you go.
It has happened before. So let's see some hustle. Let's jack it up a little. I got a feeling things are about to turn around for us.
Coach, never go wrong with Coach. He always puts things on the straight and narrow. But you know what? Coming into this week, well, first let's introduce the good-looking guy to my right, Paul Villanova.
Thank you.
I'm getting good at that now,
yep,
Paul.
not Paul
Irish
Valentino.
Bill, Seminole Bob. Once again, he dissed me. No, he didn't. He had a union meeting tonight that he had to go to as a school rep, so unfortunately he will not be here tonight, but he will be back Friday night. Big game on Friday night. Coming in this Gulf Breeze game last year, Navarre was on a 6-game winning streak.
I don't know if I realized that. I know we
lost
the first game, and then
Navarre is on a 6-game winning streak. We started out 1-1 last year, and we went to 7-1. This year we started out 1-2, and now 6-2. But this game is for all the marbles.
And I heard you guys say it last week. You know, when Gulf Breeze is playing Navarre, throw the records out. It doesn't matter. The talk has started all week long. At the quarterback club meeting last night, Coach said, you got to get these guys not to be distracted by all the noise and just be focused. And tonight, after practice, I heard that they had a better practice and they're starting to get locked in.
Well, let's go back over this last week's game. We haven't talked about that game. Yes, the Tuesday night we kind of stay away from the game from last week, and so that we can break it down on the coach's show. Scoring got going right away halfway through the first quarter. 1-yard run by Andre Spence out of the Black Pearl. Tyler Daniels stays perfect on the season with the extra point, 7-0. Pace takes their opening drive, goes right down at 2:58, a 14-yard run on the reverse to Zachary Widener. That kid is talented.
Number 8.
Yeah, he is fast. Unfortunately, the kick was blocked, and that kind of set a trend for the night on extra point attempts for Pace. So we go the end of one at 7-6. Navarre go most of the second quarter without any points. The Raiders drive down, and Daniel, he's been money all year, this time from 37 yards. And the Raiders go to the half 10-6. We go to the second half, 3:33 to go. A run up the middle, kind of a play that we've seen quite often this year. Connor breaks off right tackle, spins, breaks another tackle, and goes down the far sideline from 25 yards out. And the Raiders up 17-6. Raiders feeling pretty comfortable, not so fast. At 34-second mark of the third quarter, Nick Simmons goes in from 1 yard out. 2-point conversion, no good. See what I'm saying here? A trend. 17-12 heading to the fourth quarter. We go to the fourth, and all the points in the fourth quarter were scored within 52 seconds of each other.
Which is crazy.
So at 6:58, after Pace gets the ball back on a fumble, first play from scrimmage, 43-yard pass from Simmons to Widener, 2-point conversion, no good.
0 for 3.
Knocked down by Andre Spence and Vinny Villanova.
No, they got the last one.
But that was the important one. And then at the 6:49 yard, that means the next play. What a heads-up play by Spence. He comes up and gets the pooch kick at about the 39, at about the 40, and outsprints the special teams up Pace to the end zone. Extra point good. Actually, a 2-point conversion was good. and the Raiders went up 25-18 to 7-point lead. Well, 43 seconds later, Pace is in the end zone from 6 yards out, looking to tie it up, but a bad snap. And Andre Spence and Vinny Villanova knocked down, and the Raiders hold on. As you look at the clock, 6:06 on the clock, and those were the last points of the game.
Yep, it was phenomenal. And listening to Coach last night, he was talking about when he was talking about the game last week, he was basically saying one of the keys was to have sustained drives and try to keep their offense off the field. And that first drive that you alluded to was about a 6-minute drive to go down. I think he said it was a 11-play or 10-play drive. You'll probably have the number. And then there was another drive in the second quarter, also a 9-play drive, and then they had one in the third quarter. It was a 12-play drive. So they accomplished their goal of long, sustained drives and trying to keep them off the field.
But one thing I was very impressed with the defense, they've always seemed to step up in the big-time situations. But what they did Friday night, Coach Bagley had them ready. He had them prepared, and they were staying in their lanes. They're staying in their assignments. And there was a couple of times that you thought Simmons was going to get to outside, and there's Mason Baker twice stopping him. But it seemed like if it wasn't Mason Baker, it was somebody stopping him and hitting him right at the line of scrimmage.
Yep. It was Josh Wilson had a few. Vinny had a couple. Easy Gasca had a huge game. I think he had 7 quarterback hurries.
I have not seen that, and I don't know how long at Navarre. Easy just came to play. He made it look easy. But there was 2 big plays on that last drive. Well, one we're not going to talk about because it's old hat now. But the sack by Josh Wilson, followed up by the sack by Vinny. Vinny, he came flying out of nowhere. It's like a man on a mission. And, I mean, I was
joking with Coach Walls after the game about Andre Spence's pooch kick return, and I said, "Yeah, joking." He said, "Good thing he didn't kick it to the other side because that's where Vinny is." And Coach said, "Did you see his closing speed on that sack?" He goes, "He came out of nowhere."
He did
and nailed that kid. And then there was a play right after that where you on your commentary was like, "Chase him down, Vinny," because it was Nick Simmons running out of bounds, and Vinny came out of nowhere again. So I've been impressed with his speed. So he didn't get that from me. He got that from his own hard work. So.
Yeah, but there was a few more plays, but one of the interceptions, the one by Andre Spence, is he kind of shadowed Simmons coming out of the backfield, and I don't know who Simmons was throwing that ball to because there was not a receiver other than Andre in the picture. And
Bob made the comment on air that he thought maybe his elbow got hit while he was throwing the ball, and I forget who it was. That was applying the pressure. It might have been Josh, but the ball went to right to Andre.
But both interceptions were inside the 15-yard line, which took away scoring opportunities for Pace. But in the game, Hunter efficient for the last 3 games. 3 games ago, it was 1 incomplete pass. 2 games ago, it was 2 incomplete passes. This week, 4. So only 7 incomplete passes in his last 3 games. And that's been pretty impressive. Not big yardage this week, 10 for 14, 120 yards. Nick Simmons went 5 for 8 for 101 yards. Both their quarterbacks threw intercept. One thing, though, that kind of caught my eye is Simmons must not have the big arm. Because when they needed a long play, especially at the Hail Mary at the end of the game, they had their running back in there throwing the ball.
And he threw the ball. Exactly right.
And luckily, the Raiders knocked it down, but the interception by Darius was right to him.
Right.
And plus, he's 6'4".
He threw that too, didn't he? I don't think Nick didn't throw that ball. I think it was the running back on that one as well, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was.
Simmons threw the one to Andre, and then Tyner threw the one
to Darius. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to Hunter for a second. If you remember back to the Milton game, he hurt his ankle, and we had to go to the Wildcat for a full series. And I made the comment during the game that you could tell he wasn't 100%. I asked him yesterday or today, and he said, "Oh, I'm fine." But he didn't run the ball once on a design run, which he usually does 4 or 5 times off the RPO.
He usually likes to bulldoze somebody.
He does, and he wasn't quite as mobile as he usually is in the pocket. So I think that hampered him a little bit, but I think he's going to be back 100% this week.
Good to hear. Receiving, 10 receptions on the night, 4 for Connor Matthews. He led the team with 4. Nate Hansen with 2, Braden Brown with 2, Terrence Marshall, and Jack Helton with a big catch on a third. Actually, I think it was a first down play as Hunter rolled out to his right. Everybody thought they were going to run the ball,
Right.
and Jack kind of snuck out down the far sideline and was wide open. Nobody even covered him.
Yep.
And it was a big play there by Jack Hilton. Receiving core for Pace, the big one is number 8. He had 63 yards and the 43-yard touchdown reception. Rushing game, it's been the Connor Matthews show. 22 carries, 129 yards, touchdown, 1,043 yards on the season through 8 games.
It's phenomenal.
Nate Hansen, the double reversed. You don't know when it's going to happen. And so far he's got 2 carries on the season for 98 yards.
Wow.
Or 90 yards on the season.
And one of them, the one against Pace was on that final drive before we lost the ball, but he brought it from like the 40 all the way down to about the 30 of Pace, correct?
And Spence got the Raiders on the board first out of the Wildcat. The Raiders call that the Black Pearl. And Hunter, he had 2 carries for -7 yards. In fact, that was only the second and third time that he's been sacked all year, if I remember right. 198 yards rushing by Pace. That's what they always do. They spread it out between Simmons, Tyner, Widener, Lyons, and the freshman I was very impressed with.
Williams, is that his name?
Mikhail Williams.
He was the one who actually, right after Andre Spence's return, he returned at 81 yards. And I think Bob called it and said that it was Darius that ran him down. It was Tyler Daniel. I don't know if you watch the replay.
Yeah, Tyler ran him down, but Darius got the tackle.
I don't know. If you watch it, Tyler grabbed the ankle and got the shoestring. And
then Darius maybe just fell on him.
Yeah,
but
anyway.
Great hustle. Well, Tyler used to play defense, so
he did.
He's used to tackling.
He's fast. And I think he's got 3 shoestring tackles on the season. So
you don't really expect that out of your kicker, but he can get it done when he needs to get done. Special teams, another perfect night for Tyler. 2 for 2 extra points, 1 for 1 field goals from 37 yards. He had his best punt of the year, 43 yards. And
that's a great punt.
Andre Spence, the 60-yard kickoff return. Special teams for the Raiders paid off once again. Other than the big kickoff by Williams, they really didn't have any kicks to return. On defense, Connor Black, 10 tackles. Andre Spence, 10 tackles, an interception, quarterback hurry. The Raiders had a lot of quarterback hurries. They made Simmons run for his life back there. Spence with 10 tackles, interception, quarterback hurry. Easy Gaskin, 9 tackles, a tackle for loss, 7 quarterback hurries. Vinny, 9 tackles and a sack, a big sack. Darius Cunningham with 9 tackles, interception. Tristan Ferreira, 6 tackles, 2 quarterback hurries. Actually, pretty much everybody had a quarterback hurry on the night. A nice game once again from Marquez White, Mason Baker, and Braxton Barr. And Joshua Wilson plays his usual consistent game.
You just mentioned every player on the defense, which tells you that from where they were on game 1 to where they are now, they've gotten better every single week, and they're really playing well as a team. And that was their best defensive performance.
And a second block kick of the season by Tyrell.
Yeah, that's right.
On the extra point.
You know, you think about it, they missed all 4 of their extra points. 2 were 2-point conversions. All they needed was 1 point to tie and 2 to win. That's the difference in the game.
But as you listen to as we get pace on that last drive, you hear me mention something like that. I said, you know what? Here they go for the extra point. I said, don't put it on the board quite so quickly. And a moment later, bad snap, no extra point, and the final margin of victory is by the slimmest of margins, 1 point.
1 point. Yep.
But that's our picks from last week. We're not going to go over every one of them, but we all.
Who came out first in high school, Bill, last week? Who was the number 1? Bill
26-1.
You made the comment that I needed to do better. Maybe it was Bob who said I needed to do better research.
You did do better. In fact, you did better than all of us. 26-1. I went 25-2. Joe and Bob brought up the rear at 24, a very respectable 24-3, 89%.
It's not bad.
Not good enough though.
No, we only missed 1. And I missed the Gulf Breeze game. I picked Tate to win that game. I think everybody did, right?
Well, the games I'm going to go over are the ones that we are split a little bit on. McClay at Rocky Bayou. Joe and I are taking McClay. You and Bob are taking Rocky Bayou this week. Let's go down to the Baker game. Joe taking Baker. The rest of us taking Pike Liberal Arts. Let's see here. Florida High Mariana, really?
Well, I looked at the records, and Mariana's they're 4-3.
They're actually they're 5-3, I believe. But
it's a home game.
they started off really well, but they've lost 3 of their last 4 games.
We'll revisit that next week when I have the W.
Okay. The next one, we got 2 8-0 teams. Flint River, Georgia, going to Osceola Christian up in Monticello County here in the Panhandle of Florida, actually over in the Big Bend region. Joe and I going with Flint River, Georgia. You and Bob are going with Osceola Christian.
That was a toss-up.
It was a toss-up. Both teams 8-0.
Yep.
Our next one that we kind of mix up, Joe's going with Crestview. Us 3 are going with Leon. Bay and Rutherford, both teams very, very weak on offense. That was a flip of the coin. Joe and Bob are going with Bay. You and I are going with Rutherford. I think that's about it. And then the Bozeman Holmes County team. Bozeman 8-0, but Holmes County 7-1. They're ranked number 3 and 4 in my Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings.
Now, the Fort Walton game, I thought I took Fort Walton, but I heard you do the picks last night. You said we all took Choctaw. But
we can look that up right here. I have the proof. The proof is always in the pudding.
Well, I think Fort Walton's going to win even if I took Choctaw. I think Fort Walton's going to win that game. So
it's shake and bake. That's right, boys. So let's see here. Paul, where are we at here? Which game were we talking about?
Fort Walton, Choctaw.
Fort Walton, Choctaw.
Did I not put it on there?
Choctaw.
Ah, I guess I did.
You did take Choctaw.
All right.
Proof is in the pudding.
Okay.
Okay, then our next one, Bozeman. Bozeman 8-0. Holmes County 7-1. Holmes County putting up a lot of points on the board. Next game, Cottondale and Vernon. Joe goes with the home team in this one. Cottondale's been scoring a lot of points as well. Now our last one, Jay at Weewa. You're going with the Gators, and then Joe, Bob, and I going with Jay on the road. Sound like a plan?
It sounds like a plan.
All right, your open weeks this week: Destin, Franklin County, and Northview. And
what's Destin's record? Are they 7-1?
7-2.
7-2. That's what were they last year? They won maybe 2 games last year.
Yeah, they're an independent. The first couple of years you're not classified.
Right.
They are a charter school. They are 7-2, doing a great job
Green.
under E.G. Green, state champion at Fort Walton Beach back in 94-95 season. One heck of a wide receiver. I got to see that guy play quite a bit because that was before Navarre had a high school. So the wife and I, we went to high school football games. We'd either go to Fort Walton Beach or we'd go out to the Gulf Breeze and watch games. But
it's funny you say that. I was doing the hot dogs tonight with Charlie Cottrell's dad, Ken, and he grew up in Navarre, but he said when he went to high school, Navarre didn't exist. So he went to Gulf Breeze, and so
you had a choice.
Somebody said, "Did you want Charlie to go to Gulf Breeze?" He's like, "No, we're from Navarre. Now we have a high school. That's where he went." So
yeah, you had a choice. You could either go to Milton,
right,
Gulf Breeze, or Fort Walton Beach.
Okay.
So, but that's kind of the way it was set up. So we would go and watch games. In fact, our first year in 1991, we followed Fort Walton Beach that year. They had a quarterback, kind of an unknown quarterback named by the name of Danny Werfel.
Didn't they name a street after him?
Yeah, in Destin they have. He's gone over and created a not a homeless, but a center for underprivileged in a very bad part of New Orleans.
Okay.
Trying to remember the name of the company, but they try to take care of a lot of the homeless people in New Orleans. That doesn't surprise me with Danny and their family. But we got spoiled. We got here in September. Fort Walton Beach went 15-0 that year. We followed them on down. They played at the Swamp that year for the state championship. They fell behind 13-0 to St. Thomas Aquinas, and they went on and beat them bad.
Wow. Yeah, I remember you telling that story about how the coach was pacing the sidelines when they were down 13-0. And who was the coach then? It was
Coach Wilson.
Coach,
he's been around the South for quite a while. He was on the staff. Jimmy Ray Stevens was the head coach. He said Coach Stevens was coming to get him, and he kind of walked away from him and said, "Coach, I got this."
Yeah.
They went to halftime, and next thing you know, it was all Fort Walton Beach in the second half. And we went on down south to Sarasota, not that far a drive for our Christmas vacation.
Okay.
But got to see a lot of good football in those days.
Yep.
Our college games last week,
I didn't do quite as well.
none of us really did that well last week. I went actually you, I, and Joe all went 19-6. Actually,
okay.
you went 18-7, and the rest of us went 19-6.
Okay.
So that puts me up a 2-game lead on Bob and Joe, and your percentage, you're at 71%. Not bad.
For this,
Come in, Johnny. Come lately.
Next year I'll be in for a full season.
But let's go over our games that real quick that are different here. Tomorrow night, Syracuse at Virginia Tech. Of course, you're from that area. Northeast. So you're going with Syracuse. Virginia Tech kind of down this year. 3 of us are going with Virginia Tech. You're going with the Qs. This next one, I think I got to have you go in for a random urinalysis check. Indiana is a 30-point underdog.
No, I didn't take.
Yes, you did.
No, that was a mistake. Even if the proof is in the pudding, I read the thing wrong. Yeah, that was a mistake.
Okay, that's a mistake.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a mistake.
that is a correctable mistake.
Yeah,
before the game is played. We can change that.
Yeah, I read the. I'm about to have surgery in both eyes. I can't see. So.
Okay, I was starting to wonder about that one there. Okay, able to go down here. We got a lot of the same picks. Go down to the Duke at Louisville game. You're taking Duke. The rest of us taking Louisville. Auburn, Mississippi State. You're taking State.
Had to go different.
We're split here. Oregon. You, Joe, and I are going with Oregon. Bob's going with the Utes. They had a great game last week against USC, but who isn't these of lately? All of us going with Tulane. Tennessee at Kentucky, you're going with the Wildcats at home.
3-point underdog, is that right?
Yeah, 3.5-point underdog. Air Force at Colorado State, we're all going with the Air Force Academy in that one. Everything else, I think, is chalk except the last 2 games. Oregon State, you, Joe, and actually you're going with Arizona in the upset. And the rest of us going with Oregon State. And Washington State at Arizona State. You guys going with Washington State. I'm going with the upset, Arizona State.
There you go. Nobody went out on a limb and took Colorado this week?
No.
The Dion, the hype is worn down?
I think UCLA's playing really good football right now, too.
Okay.
But there's your high school and college picks for this week. And we're going to go ahead and head out for commercial break, and we'll have Coach Hemme sit with you.
Okay.
And we'll be back with Irish Bill's Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show from Buffalo Wild Wings here in Navarre. For Paul Villanova and Irish Bill, we'll be right back.
All right.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
What's up? We probably won't get to all these, but we'll skip around. We can just end up talking, having a conversation. So. Exactly. Was it 2014 that you moved here? 15? From Vegas. I should know that, but it's a 702 number. For some reason I thought it was, because I thought it was.
All Dry is 100% veteran-owned and operated. They have a proven process that guarantees customer satisfaction along with job completion to industry standards. In addition to water and mold remediation, they hold certifications in fire and smoke odor control cleanup, trauma, crime scene, and biohazard cleanup. If you're in the Gulf Coast region, including areas in Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi, you can rely on All Dry 24/7, 365. And you can find them on the World Wide Web at www.myalldry.com/Gulf Coast region.
Baseball guy, Ray, what's his last name? He was the head of the umpires. Anyway,
Back then, I didn't know nobody yet, really.
yeah, his kid, Coach Q, he was just like, he wore the pants down to here, like he was, and he was coaching that team.
I got my boys with me.
I think are we live? Hey, Bill, I don't hear anything. Talk. What's up? We're ready to go? All right. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings Coaching Show. I'm Paul Villanova, sitting in for Seminole Bob this week. Joining me for this segment, Navarre Raiders running back coach Anthony Hemingway, but we know you as Hemi forever. Welcome.
Hemi. Hey, thank you.
Hey, we were just talking about when we met. I think it was 2015, and you've been coaching a lot of different things here in Navarre. Why don't you take us through, what you've been coaching and how you ended up here coaching running backs?
Okay. So, yeah, I moved here in 2015. I was just transitioning out of the military. I moved here from Las Vegas, and I've always had a sports background, played basketball, played football, played a little bit of college basketball.
You did?
But
Yeah,
I did. So, so when I was in the military, I played basketball.
Okay.
I was a basketball guy. And the particular team I was on, it was an Air Force team, but we used to travel and play, I guess you would call it NAIA now, but just like small little tournaments and preseason tournaments. And I actually got a chance to spend some time with Bellevue University in Omaha. They were giving me a look or whatever, so I spent some time with them, and it didn't really work out, but it was a good experience for me.
Did you play guard, or what did you play?
I did. I was
All
a
right.
point guard.
All right, dishing the ball.
I was dishing the ball off.
That's fine.
So that's what I did, but of course I had a football background as well, and from there I just got into coaching. I wanted to just help people out. So by the time I moved here, I was still doing school. I was pursuing childhood education, and my brother is he's an English teacher in South Carolina.
Okay.
So I was
I knew there was a South Carolina connection.
Yeah,
That's right.
so I'm originally from South Carolina, Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
And so I was kind of following in his footsteps. I wanted to be a teacher, get into education. And lo and behold, I ended up in Navarre. The first thing I saw was the NYSA, our youth program that we have here, which is a great feeder program for the high school, of course. And I just walked in the gym one day. You were probably in there, for all I know. And I was like, hey, I'm a coach. I want to help the youth. Is there anything available? I think you was probably in there. Probably Paul Brown was in there. Everybody was in there. We were all young. And
I wasn't so young, but
and I got a chance to help a young team. I think they were about 9 or 10 at the time.
Yeah, I remember you were the 9U team.
Yeah.
Well, my first memory, as I mentioned before, was you. There was one summer we were doing a flag football league at the NYSA, and there were only 2 teams. and you had every good player, and I had one good player, maybe 2. Vinny and a couple other guys, and you guys won every single game. To the point where the parents finally said, we have to mix this up.
Yeah, we were pretty stacked, wasn't we? Yeah, I don't know how I pulled that off. But, yeah, I do remember that. That was a great experience. That's when I knew that we had a lot of talent in Navarre. And but, I started coaching the youth ball. And I always wanted to be had that teacher, that education deal I had. So I ended up working at the high school.
Okay.
I ended up working with Miss Angie Taylor and some of her folks, and I really enjoyed it. And that was kind of like almost a segue to coaching. I did some good things at the rec league level. So I coached, of course, youth football, did the flag football thing. I coached track and field, AAU track and field. I have the track and field program. So when I got to the high school and got the opportunity, I actually started track and field at Navarre High School first. That was first before I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I actually did track and field at Navarre High School. And then I always knew Rusty Baldry. Of course, I knew Tony Carter and those guys. But I was really focusing on track, honestly. And they kind of pulled me to the side. They liked what I was doing, and they're like, hey, we got an opportunity. We got some changeover. Would you like to, come to the freshman team? And I was like, yeah, you know.
I remember that.
Of
Well,
course.
don't sell yourself short, too, because you also brought the FBU program to this part of to Florida Football University.
I did. That is a big part of me. I think that's a big part of the Navarre community right now. It's still going on. Vinny played on that team when we went to Atlanta back in the day. It was 2019.
We did. We had the 8th grade team, and you were coaching the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade we had, right?
Yeah, you guys were on the 7th grade team that year, right?
You're right. You're exactly
Okay.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
We
So we
had
went
7th
to
and 8th.
Atlanta.
That's right.
So just real quick on that, FBU, I joined that program, Football University, for people who don't know. I actually started in Panama City with that.
Okay.
I got some.
That's right.
I got ties in Panama City, but when Hurricane Michael came,
Right.
I talked to the Wigs at FBU, and I said, hey, I can bring it this way, near Pensacola, Navarre area. We got some talent. And then I kind of did my thing a little while and helped a lot of people out, brought some camps, did some tournaments, and I wanted to just get exposure for the youth. So, yeah, I did touch on some FBU stuff. I transitioned out of that this year, but it's still in Navarre, so it's still in good hands. So shout out to all my FBU people. I will tell you this. When I see FBU hoodies, FBU shirts, FBU anything, it puts a smile on my face because it lets me know, I was a part of that. I was a part of somebody's journey. So
well, I'm going to start
big shout out to
wearing
everybody
mine
with
more
the FBU stuff. Yeah.
Well, you're have really tried to showcase athletes and have done that since day one. And you mentioned the freshman team, and then I think it was last year or the year before that you transitioned to become the running backs coach at the varsity level. And let's talk about that for a little bit. You've got the backfield, led by someone we're going to have on the show in a few minutes, junior Connor Matthews. He's got 1,047 yards and 144 carries, over 7 yards per carry. How great has it been to watch his success this year?
It's been excellent. I got Connor last year. He was kind of new to the program, so he had to get acclimated to our culture, our traditions. He had to get acclimated to me and my coaching style. He showed up wide-eyed, ready to go. He asked a lot of questions. He always had his notepad out, writing in it. I had the privilege of meeting his father. We communicated a little bit with some emails. So I got a little background on him from when he came from Central Florida. And when I seen him at practice, I just knew. I knew then when I first put my eyes on him, I was like, this kid's gonna be great. This kid's gonna be something right here.
I think I told you that he played here when he was 10 and 11.
Okay.
And then they moved away.
Yes.
And then they came back, and I think it was a game where EJ got hurt the prior game, and Connor played in the pace game. And I think he ran for 198 yards or something.
That's exactly what happened. So EJ was our leading rusher. He was our number one guy last year, and he was out on injury. So we actually started with Anthony Gassaway that game. And Anthony Gassaway played pretty much like the first quarter, and he was getting 5 yards a carry, 5.5 a carry. And then all of a sudden 28 shows up, and nobody knows who he is. And he breaks off like a 35-yard run on an outside zone play. And everybody's pointing at me like, why wasn't you playing him? Where he been at? He was new. He was banged up a little bit, but I knew about the kid already. He took advantage of his opportunity.
Sure. I remember being in the parking lot after that game and Coach T.J. Jefferson walking around going, did we not know we had 28?
Yeah, we had 28 the whole time. We had 28 the whole time.
But talk about the rest of the backfield. You mentioned Anthony just coming back off an injury. You've got Andre and Josh. Obviously, they played both ways, but all juniors.
Yes.
You got a stacked backfield back there, and I'm going to ask you about that. But also, you guys as coaches coach the JV team as well. So who's coming up when these guys graduate? And talk a little bit about the four that you have that are juniors now.
Okay, so as far as guys coming up, we got some sophomores. We got Curtis Sanders. He's been our leader on our JV team.
Or 42.
And, number 42, yes. And we call him a 6-quarter guys. So he'll usually put in 4 quarters on JV and do 2 for varsity. Or lately he's been a full-blown 6-quarter guy. So he's been doing 2 quarters JV, 4 quarters varsity.
Okay.
He's a young guy. He has a lot to learn. He's explosive. I like his speed. He does great in the film room. And he's kind of following behind our older guys' footsteps right now. I like him leading the way, but we also have some younger guys that'll be coming from freshmen next year that I'm looking forward to seeing. And to kind of fill out the room, we got Aiden Finch.
I know Aiden, yep.
Yeah, Aiden Finch is in our running back room. And then we got Keith Danner. He's also in our running back room. We had a couple injuries this year. Nicky Minato was a guy who was coming up. He was looking great. He got injured this year. We all know about Eric, right? Mm-hmm. So
Eric Crane, shout out.
So Eric Crane was probably our most, he was probably our most improved running back over the last 12 months. So unfortunately, he had to leave, but he was going to be a good one for us. And I think that's it right there. We had a transfer in. His name is Jalal.
Oh yeah,
Mufasa.
exactly. Yep.
He got injured,
Number
so we had him for
36,
about
maybe?
2-3 weeks. I saw some sparks out of him as well, so we'll see what he does next year.
Well, back to the four that we have. One of the questions we get all the time is, why aren't they rotating running backs more and keeping fresh legs? I know you hear that all the time, but what I don't think people realize is, our quarterback, he can run with the ball as well, and I think he's got I had the number. He's got 52 carries and averaging six yards a carry. So
Yes.
it's almost like having another running back. I know he was a little bit
It
hobbled
is.
last week, but
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah, so Hunter, I joke with him at practice. I call him a dual threat quarterback. I love Hunter, and a lot of things that we do, we do a lot of quarterback runs. Could we get into the Wildcat? Yes, but Hunter, he has a nice. First of all, he's strong. He's on our weightlifting.
He got a lot
competition
stronger
team.
last year.
First of all, he's strong. He's competitive, and he has the body to be able to take those hits.
Coach, one thing that I've noticed on Hunter this year is his efficiency has vastly improved from last year.
Yeah.
He's putting the ball more on the money. Most of his incompletions might be drops from his receivers, but he has played really strong throwing the ball. But I love when he tries to truck somebody. They get in his way and he gives him the old Walter Payton stiff arm.
Yeah. I love Hunter, but so I always make fun of him, call him dual threat, but he's efficient at running. So I don't want to change anything, And as far as the running backs, I actually have a great rotation. I call it good problems. Connor is our number one guy. That's pretty much how football works. You're gonna have your number one guy, and he's been having a very efficient year. He's been having an excellent year. We've rotated a couple times. We got Andre Spence, starting linebacker, great runner, explosive. It's crazy because they all got different run styles, right?
And Josh is a slasher.
But they're all big.
Yep.
And people bounce off of them because they got great leverage. They're stocky. It's almost like a power run game. I wouldn't call us a power team, but we're very physical. And we run physical. So my running backs are perfect for our offense because they run physical. Whether it's counter, whether it's power. We got the guys that can get inside, get vertical, and hit that hole pretty hard.
Well, I think people don't realize too that you mentioned Andre playing linebacker. So does Josh.
Yep,
they play
Josh
full time.
Wilson.
They don't come off the field on defense. So it's tough to get them in rotation and expect them to be able to run the ball as well.
Right. So Josh Wilson is another one. I love Josh Wilson. So he has a battery now. He could probably play the whole game. I love Josh Wilson. He's another one. He's a talented runner. He's very fast. He's quick. And what I say about Josh is he just naturally makes the right cuts. He's very coachable, but you give him the ball, and he just naturally hits the hole. You don't really got to say too much to Josh. But he does have a motor, and I can tell you he could probably do special teams, defense, and offense the whole game and not come out. But it's a blessing to have Josh as well. He does a little wildcat for us. He can do wildcat and running back, So big shout out to Josh, another starting linebacker. And then, of course, I got Anthony Gassaway.
I was going to say, now you got 23 back. And I remember when he was first coming up when he was 12, 13 years old, he ran like Connor. And then, obviously with the ACL issue. But, it looks like he's back.
He is back. He's worked hard, and I'll let him kind of speak about his journey when he gets on here.
Sure.
But, we love Anthony Gassaway. We got a chance to play Milton a couple weeks ago, and he got his first carries of the season.
Awesome.
And, the crowd was rooting for him. The team was rooting for him, the coaches, and we kept feeding him. And I wanted him to punch it in and get that 6 just to get that feeling back and just to prove to himself that he can do it. And it kind of like capped off his journey back to the team. And we got great feedback from everybody with that. And, I'm just proud of that young man.
That's great.
I'm just proud of
I'm
that
glad to
young
have
man,
him back. Well, it wouldn't be a defensive dad if I didn't ask you the question. How is it to you guys get to go against our defense every day in practice? Sometimes they'll run a scout defense, obviously, depending on who we're playing that week. But going against the defense that we have, you've seen them grow this year from where they were the first week of the year to where they are now. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I love our defense, and, we've been averaging close to, 40, 45 points a game over the last couple of weeks. And we go against a tough defense in practice, whether it's scout or going against our own D. Those guys, they give 100%. Our linebackers are really, really good. They fit their fits correctly. Outside plays, they do great. When they go into coverage, they do great. I feel our DBs have stepped up. We brought Darius on this year, a basketball player. He's learned a lot from Connor Black and Tyrell Marshall and those guys. And it's almost like a cliche, but we really have improved every week. And I've heard you say that before.
Yeah.
Like, we really have.
Oh, it's
Since
obvious.
week 1 to now, I feel we're one of the best teams in North Florida. You know, we really have improved every week, and the defense makes us better. We have a great O-line, coach, but our defense does make us better. And once again, could be another cliche, but that's really how we work over here.
You can see it. Their confidence has grown.
Yeah.
You got to remember when we started the defense this year, there were 7 underclassmen and only 4 seniors,
really young.
and we're undersized a little bit too. And Coach Chris Benjamin coming in and helping with the D line has been big.
Yeah, it's been great.
And just to see these guys grow every week, like you said, I think their best defensive performance was the other night.
Our defense. I feel our defense is the epitome of, teamwork and believing in yourself. Because those guys, they are undersized. They are young. We don't have a lot of seniors on that. Our linebacking core,
All juniors.
I don't think we have any seniors.
Nope.
We got 1 senior on the D-line, so those guys will be back. We got a young DB group. Connor and Tyrell are seniors, but we got a young group. We got great coaching. Coach Bagley leads the defense, and then Coach Lawson's running those DBs with Coach Jones. And everybody bought in.
Yep.
A lot of people, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of people counted us out.
Oh, definitely.
People were saying we wouldn't even win a game.
Right.
So a lot of people counted us out, and we just stuck to it. We got a winning tradition over here, and
Absolutely.
it's not going to change.
No offense to anybody, but I would love to have those first 2 games back again. If we played those 2 games, who knows, right? But
I agree with you. I agree with you. The first one was close. We lost in overtime. A play here and there, we could have won that game.
Should have won that game.
The second one was a very emotional game. I wish we could also have that back, but at the end of the day, I'm
Is
proud
what
of
it
what we
is.
got.
6
I'm
in
proud
a
of
row.
what we got going on.
So before we go, talk about Gulf Breeze a little bit.
Gulf Breeze. Okay. First of all, beat the breeze, squish the fish. It's a huge game for our seniors, first of all. It's a huge game for the coaching staff and for the school. It's a big rivalry, crosstown rivalry. It's called the Beach Bowl. We got a chance to win last year, so we're going to try to go back-to-back. I like our game plan. I like our kids. I like what me and the coaches put together during the week, and we plan on keeping the Beach Bowl trophy.
They run a 4-man front over there, so
they do run a 4-man front.
So attack. So I know that they're one linebacker. I think it's Maldonado. I don't know his number, but
he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
So the linebacker core is pretty good. They got Jake Frazetta over there, number 2 at Sam.
Yep.
They got a good aggressive D line. I like our O-line, of course.
Our O-lines.
I think number 1, I think it's Jermaine Walker. Watching him on film, he seems like he disrupts the backfield a lot. But I like our O-line. I wouldn't take nothing against Gulf Breeze. They're making a little run right now, and they got opportunity to knock us off.
And, throw the records out, right? We said that earlier. It's Gulf Breeze. It's a big week. I was worried about that after coming off that pace high. I asked Coach after Monday's practice, like a little bit flat. But it seemed tonight when I saw them all at the hot dog deal, they seemed like they're a little bit more locked in finally.
So the coaches, we noticed that early Monday. He was like, hey, something's not right. Like, it was just a little different, almost like a hangover from the win. It's like, hey, we got more to do here. And like you said, the records are out the window.
Yep.
This ain't no trap game. This is a real game here. This ain't a trap game. Records out the window, crosstown rival. They came in here and got us a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, with 5 turnovers.
Right.
Yep.
And they were standing on our boat, on our ship over there.
Yeah.
We can't let them do that this year.
Which, by the way, so I'm not going to say it on air, but I think we're going to take the ship out of the park tomorrow and bring it back on Friday. So.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we're not going to let that happen this year. I just want everybody to know that we're prepared. Us, me and the coaching staff, the kids are prepared. We're ready for the Beach Bowl, and we're going to keep the Beach Bowl trophy back in Navarre.
I saw the trophy in the field house tonight.
That's motivation right there.
Looks right there.
That's motivation.
Battle Albertson.
Man.
He's probably the best quarterback we're going to face, right?
I feel he'll be the best quarterback we'll see this year. He's a great kid, great athlete. I know him and his family. He plays. We did some 7-on-7 together in the offseason. Right. So I know Battle, great competitor. I spoke with Hunter a couple times. I was like, hey, Albertson versus Feaster, man. We got to go. This is it.
Well, those guys all, for a couple of years, they all trained together and all worked. Trained together, worked 7-on-7 together. And,
so that's kind of like family a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the thing about playing Gulf Breeze. Half these kids, like you mentioned, Jack Riley, he's over there now. Frazetta was a Navarre kid. There's a lot of guys that have played back and forth. And I remember that game we just talked about with the 5 turnovers. It was Philip Dillard who picked one up and ran 55 yards the year before he played for us in NYSA.
He did play at NYSA.
Because of COVID.
I actually coached Frazetta when I first got to Navarre. Matter of fact, he was on that flag football team.
I'm sure he was. You had every good player. Every good player
flag
possible.
Football team. Then I coached him in the rec ball when I was with Ian Jones and them too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So your team that you coached at NYSA, you've been with them since they were 9 years old. They're now 14U over there. So they're actually the 8th grade team. So you get a chance to see not only the freshman team at Navarre High, but the next group of freshmen. And
yes.
then are you going to pick up another team, another 9U team, and start all over again?
Oh. All right. So I actually got them when they were 7 years old.
You did? Okay.
Yes, I did. And I became the head coach when they were 8.
Okay.
But yes, they are 8th grade now. They'll be transitioning to the high school next year.
You're right. It was 8U.
And like I said, that's our good feeder program we got.
Yep.
You know, so that's our feeder program. So yeah, they'll be here next year. I'm going to continue to coach at the high school and just watch those boys grow. I'm not going to go back down. I feel like I've did my time. I think it's time for the young coaches, the young motivated guys, to start creating their.
You did a great job over there,
paths.
and I always appreciated that when I was running the program over there.
Yeah.
You were one of the coaches I didn't have to worry about. And, did a great
I'm almost
job.
done. I got one more year with those guys. I enjoy those guys. I enjoy the NYSA. It was a pleasure working with you when you was there. But yeah, that book is about to be closed right there.
But you're right. I don't know why it was in my head that it was 9U, but it was halfway through the 8U season that you took over that team. And,
yes, sir. Yes,
now
sir.
it's all coming back to me now.
Yes, sir.
Try to block
yes, sir.
those memories out. Some
yes,
of them.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So those kids will be Navarre Raiders next year in the freshman team.
Great. Well, Coach Andy Hemingway, Hemi, as we know and love him, my neighbor, my friend. Great having you on the show.
Hey, it's a pleasure, man. I like what y'all doing here. Thank y'all for supporting the program.
Well, Coach Walls came to us last year and said, hey, what about doing a coach's show? He was really let's just be clear. He had always promoted his players for years. Has promoted players, brought coaches in, had players be the highlight. But this year he's like, I want to make sure we're doing our very best to put the focus on the players, and let's do the coach's show. Let's start putting pictures of players out. Let's do videos with Alan Williams has been doing. So kudos to Coach for doing that, and I think this has been great.
I think it's been great. We've been having a great year, and it's been a total effort from the coaches all the way down to the quarterback club and everyone else. I mean, look at us, man. Look at the record. Look what we're about to do this year, and
beat the
I'm ready to shock the world, man.
That's it. Well, good. Thanks again, Hemi.
Thanks again.
All right, man.
All right, have a good one, man.
So how'd that go?
How'd
that go?
Bob, you were going to call me Bob.
I was ready to call you Bob.
It went great. I wasn't sure how long we were supposed to go.
I wouldn't call Bob cue ball.
You did call me cue ball last night. You didn't think I'd be listening, but I got up this morning.
Great interview with Coach Hemi. He's been with these young men for quite a while.
And I've known him forever, and so I almost didn't even need a script because it was just like talking. And he's obviously passionate about highlighting young men on the football field. It was a great job.
Nice comment from James Pritchett. Said nobody could have predicted the team would be playing like this after week 2. Vast improvement. And he hit the nail on the head with that.
By the way, James, shout out to CJ. I know he's going to be watching this on Friday, so hey, CJ.
Actually, Danny was the 96. You are correct. 96 Heisman Trophy winner. Deborah Broxson. She's going to actually be out at the games. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to see her on Friday. We're going to go ahead now, commercial break, and we'll be back with Anthony Gassaway and Connor Matthews.
All right.
So this Irish Bill on Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. Paul Villanova, Irish Bill here. We'll be back after this break.
Thank you.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
a strong work ethic, takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Welcome back to the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. You've seen this guy before, to my right. He's won a couple of weeks ago. Connor Matthews, another big game and another big win for the Raiders this past Friday night.
Yes,
what was the atmosphere going into that game? And as the game went on, you knew it was going to be a tight game. How did everybody stick together in the game?
I think we knew the atmosphere was going to be huge. We knew it was going to be a tough game. I mean, we were looking at their record. We were watching film. We knew they were going to be a tough team and a great team. And we just went in. We were preparing. We were preparing long and hard, late practices. Just we wanted to get it done. And I think we really came together and established a plan and just really executed that plan perfectly.
Well, the thing with pace is keeping Nick Simmons off the field.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys did that. You take the opening drive, 5 minutes, 50 seconds. You go down and you put 7 points on the board, and you take a 7-0 lead. They answer right back, and you knew right there you had a fight.
Yep.
You go to the half, you're up 17-6, but not feeling complacent at all because you knew the pace they had a run in them.
Oh, yeah.
And they cut the lead. They come back and take the lead, 18-17. But what a heads-up play by Andre Spence on the kickoff.
Yep.
I know you've been watching the game Navarre all year. They have about 4 or 5 guys that can take it to the house on a kickoff. So they're messing with the other team's kicker's head. And Andre gets that right on the run, goes untouched to the end zone. You get the lead. You get the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
What's going on the sideline when you regain the lead?
We're all hyped up. I mean, we're ready to go. We're back in it. We got the lead, and we know that's gonna take us to the win.
You had another patented. I'm starting to count Connor Matthews spin moves. You're at the line of scrimmage. You get hit a couple of times. You're downfield about 3 or 4 yards, and then you do a spin, and you're down the far sideline, basically untouched after that. Going into the offseason, you knew that you had to get stronger. You knew that you were going to be more likely going to be the main back. It looks like that you've prepared yourself rather well for this season.
Sir.
And the weight room, I'm going to keep bringing this up. Number 3 in the state last year. At what weight class?
It was 183.
Okay.
183.
Are you going to stay at 183 this year, or are you moving up?
I'm actually moving up. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
But the same goal is to win a state title, right? You got one game in front of you, Gulf Breeze. This is the only game that matters right now. And Coach likes to take each week 1 week at a time, go 1-0 that week. What has he brought to you guys this week in preparation for Gulf Breeze?
Just preparing hard and taking them as just as a great of a team as Pace. I mean, not even their record, because it's a huge game. It's the Beach Bowl. I mean, this is our shot at district champs. I mean, it's going to be a great game and a hard-fought game, so we're going to execute well.
You guys, this is the most 24 times that Gulf Breeze and Navarre have played each other, the most of any other opponent for Navarre. I remember the days when Gulf Breeze had won the first 7 of 8 games. It's not been that way of late, as Navarre, I believe, has won 14 out of the last 16, and all those in the Beach Bowl Cup. So there's always a big rivalry, separated by about 15, 16 miles. A lot of you guys played ball with each other when you were younger. Probably one of the best quarterbacks in the area plays quarterback at Gulf Breeze. You guys have played, I think, 7-on-7. Have you guys played 7-on-7 together with each other? I know that he has played on the C3 7-on-7 team. Yes, but everybody's familiar with each other here between Gulf Breeze and Navarre. The young man can throw the ball.
Oh, yeah, he can. He can. He's great.
He does. He has an arm that just will not stop.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, they have kind of bypassed on the running game. And over the years, Navarre has been very solid against one-dimensional teams. And he's probably going to throw the ball probably 40 to 45 times this week. What is Coach Walls and Coach First, I got to say, hats off to Coach Bagley for his defensive scheme last week. They basically bottled up Simmons, and one heck of a game from Easy Gasca. I mean, 7 quarterback hurries. That's unheard of. But Mason Baker always seemed to be the Johnny on the spot when Simmons would always try to cut it back.
Yep.
And it was just I told my Seminole Bob, I said, you know what? This is the best lane assignment, stay in your lane defense that Navarre played all year long, and they needed to.
Of course.
But you held on. You won that big game. You go to 6-2. Just like last year, you're on a 6-game winning streak going into the Gulf Breeze game. That game was equally as big. Last year was for the title. This one is for the title. Because if Gulf Breeze comes in and upsets, well, we don't think that's going to happen, but you just got to put it out there. But that could set up a 3-way tie, and then we go to the hated shootout where you bring all 3 teams together. I don't like that. But we're going to take care of business on Friday night.
Of course. 129
yards, 22 carries. Seems to be about 20 to 25 carries a game is what Coach Hemme likes to get you.
Yes, sir.
But what I like to see is that young man back there in the backfield now.
Yes, sir.
Anthony Gasway, he's worked hard. He got his first touchdown in over a year, a couple of games ago at home in a decisive win there. But it's nice if you get tired, not that you'll ever get tired. You got Anthony Gasway. You got Andre Spence. You got Joshua Wilson. 4 juniors. Mm-hmm. And you guys were all on varsity last year as sophomores. And it's just great to see that you have a lot of options on offense if one of you guys is having an off night.
Yes, sir.
But, we've had you on before, so I'm going to give a little bit more airtime to Anthony and get him broken in on this broadcast stuff.
Of course.
And we wish you nothing but luck no luck, hard work and a win for the Raiders this Friday night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations on the season so far, Connor.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to have a young man on that took about a year off. Not on his, not his decision. Unfortunately, he suffered an injury in the 22 season. Got back about 3 games ago now. Scored your very first touchdown. How was that, Anthony Gasway? By the way, how was that getting into the end zone after being away for a year?
It felt good. All the work I put in to come back. It felt good. It felt like it paid off at that moment.
Yeah. When I was going through some therapy down at Andrews, I actually saw you out working hard down at Andrews, knowing it was a long road back. What was the injury that you suffered that kept you out?
I tore my ACL and my meniscus.
Always a tough recovery from that. Well, you worked hard. You stayed in the weight room, did what you could do, went through your rehab. You're back on the field. And that last drive of that game, they basically relied on you to get that ball in the end zone.
Yes, sir.
And it was great to see you back. Taking that first hit, was there anything going through your mind saying, gosh, I haven't been hit in quite a while. Hopefully this won't happen. Yeah, I make that first cut on that knee that's been surgically repaired. Was there anything like that going through your head, or was you ready for that moment?
I feel like for me it was just like after that first hit, like getting the mental blocker out the way. And I felt like once I got the mental blocker out of the way, I was good from there.
So the last couple of games, they've been playing you a little bit on defense. Have you played defense in a long while?
It's been a minute since I played defense.
But you made a couple of nice stops last week against Pace. Coming into this season, you knew you were going to be back eventually. Just like with Terrence, he out the first couple of games. He went through the same thing, that first hit. And once you get that first hit, you're ready to go. It's nice to know that Navarre is so deep at the running back position. with Connor, yourself, Andre Spence. We can even throw Joshua Wilson in there. You guys have basically grown up in this Navarre program, haven't you?
sir.
How long have you guys played together?
We played together since Little League, which like 4th, 5th grade.
And we know Connor went away for a little while with his dad in the military, but he's back, and we're glad that he's back. I mean, how is it playing with that young man and seeing his work ethic?
It's good.
Does it rub off on you a little bit?
Yes, it does, yes.
And
it motivates me to go harder, So.
Most definitely. And I know you had a lot of high aspirations. Like I said, you're only a junior, so we got the senior year coming up next year. I know you probably have intentions of wanting to play ball at the next level.
Yes, sir.
What are you going to study whichever you get to college, or haven't you decided as of yet?
I'm not exactly sure, but I know I have 2 things I either want to do. I want to study something with the human body and how it works.
Like kinesiology or something like that?
Yes, or like computers, like DIT type stuff.
That's getting to be very popular with this generation. My son's getting ready to go off to the Air Force. He's going to be a drone pilot. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Wish I would have had that option years ago, but we didn't have that back in the 80s. But coming into Gulf Breeze, it's always a big week when you're playing Gulf Breeze, whether both teams, one team's 0-8 or the other team's 7-1 or whatever. It doesn't matter going into the Gulf Breeze game, does it?
No.
You can throw all the record books out. It's the rivalry of all rivalries. Stacks right up there with Pace and Milton. There's a little bit longer. But Coach Wall's preparing you guys this week, and Coach Hemme for this upcoming battle with Gulf Breeze. What have they been saying to you guys all week?
They've been saying just like you said, no matter what the record is, they always play us hard, and we just gotta dominate like we've been doing.
I think one key this week is going to be able to try to get pressure on Battle Alberson. That guy can sling it all over the field, and 40, 50 passes. But hopefully you guys will limit that down, make him run the ball a little bit more, because not much of a running game for Gulf Breeze. But you gotta keep your lanes with him, because he will take the ball and run.
Yes, sir.
But so a big game coming up this Friday night. We wish you nothing but all the best and a Raider victory, because
thank you.
To us, Gulf Breeze doesn't have a chance. Come on, really? This is Navarre. You're coming to the Bennett C. Russell Stadium. It's the Publix Beach Bowl Cup. We're up 14-2 in the Cup. No chance, but good luck this Friday night, Anthony.
Thank you.
Anthony Gassaway, Navarre Raiders running back and defensive lineman, linebacker, whatever you want to throw the hat on. Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
It's Irish Bill back with Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. Paul Villanova filling in for Seminole Bob tonight. Bob out due to work-related event going on tonight. We got a big game coming up this Friday night, Navarre and Gulf Breeze. And what a great matchup. These two teams get together, separated by 16, 17 miles. A little bit further than the Pace and Milton rivalry. They're separated by 8 miles. But it's always a great game when these two teams get together. We're going to go ahead and out for a commercial break. You're watching the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. I'm Irish Bill, and we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
Craig Culver of Culver's. Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
New York is where I'd rather stay. I get allergic smelling hay. I just adore a penthouse view. Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
The chores.
The stores.
Fresh air.
Times Square.
You are my wife.
Goodbye, city life.
Green Acres, we are there.
Welcome back to the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. This is Irish Bill giving Paul a chance to eat and eat a little bit of refreshments, and he'll be back on in just a little bit as we're winding down here on another Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. I got a question here from Travis. He said, where did you get that jersey? Well, earlier in the year, the quarterback club was selling jerseys as a fundraiser, old jerseys, and I got a maroon one, a white one, and a black one, all with the number 99. You say, did you have a son that played wearing 99? There's a reason I went with the 99. We go back to 1999, 2000 year. It was Navarre's first program team in the program with a senior class. And for that, I went with the number 99. It was the first year that Navarre had seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So that's why I went with the number 99. But honestly, I thought they were going to – usually 99 is reserved for the big guys, so I figured it was going to be a little loose on me. Unfortunately, not so loose as the years have did a little toll on the Irish Bill here. But I got a black one, a maroon one, and a white one. And I usually can't wear them outside until it starts to cool down because these things – I sweat, unfortunately, and so hopefully I'll be able to wear one tomorrow night as hopefully it cools off a little bit as the night goes on. So, Travis, that's where I got the jersey. And thank you all once again, Clay Matthews, Deborah Broxson, James Pritchett, all of you for checking in tonight. It's time to go over a matchup. Navarre comes into this game 6-2 on a 6-game winning streak, averaging around – 38 points a game. Gulf Breeze comes into this game averaging about 30 points a game, but giving up 32. The Raiders, we all know their plight so far this year. Overtime loss to Catholic in game one, go on the road to Pine Forest. Take a pretty good shellacking there, but that was not where this season was the direction that this season was going to go. Back at home, one win. They roll off 6 straight wins. They come into this game flying high on both offense and defense and special teams. What a job Tyler Daniels done. 37 of 37 on the season, extra points, 7 of 8 field goals. Almost a perfect season for Tyler. All facets of the Raider football team have finally arrived just in time as we wind down here in the 2023 season. Big game against Gulf Breeze coming up. Gulf Breeze comes in 3-5. With a big upset win over Tate last week, a win that they needed to stay in the hunt for the district title. They started off the season with a 35-21 loss to Crestview and a 39-27 loss to Escambia. Got back in the win column in Week 3 against Milton with a 73-42 victory, a district win, 35-0 over Pensacola. They go to the half against Pace, up 24-21. Unfortunately, that was the last points they scored, as Pace would run off 34 straight points in the second half. Week 6, a game against Catholic, 38-17, a loss. They go on the road to the Kissimmee area at Tohopa-Caliga, an 18-14 loss with one of the best young quarterbacks in the country, Sabi Mazik, for Tohopa-Caliga. 18-14 loss. They come back in Game 8. The upset win over Tate last week, 27-20, which sets up a big game this Friday night. So, say, Bill, coming in this game, what have you seen? Where have you seen the Raiders improve? Well, on the defensive side of the ball, last Friday night, even though they gave up 24 points, that was probably the best defensive game that the Raiders played all year. Pace, a very, very strong scoring team, 38 points a game coming into that game. The Raiders stayed in their lanes. They didn't miss a whole lot of assignments, and they were able to hold Nick Simmons to under 100 yards rushing, which a lot of teams have not done all year. But where they really have come together in the special teams, the Raiders have about 4 or 5 guys that can return kickoffs, and it kind of puts the kicking team in a little bit of a quandary because they don't know where to kick the ball. Last week we saw Andre Spence. We've seen Terrence Marshall. We've seen Tyrell Marshall. We've seen Nate Hansen return kicks. It's almost it's really fun to watch the special teams of Navarre when they get ready to return a kick. If I was the other team, I would just kick it out of bounds, give them the ball at the 35, and let them go from there. But I'm not the coach, so unfortunately, they have to receive the fate of their decision. But we come into this game, Navarre. Let me pull it up here real quick. In this matchup, I believe this is the 24th game that these two teams will have played each other, but I'm going to double check that here real quick. Pull up my stat sheet. Navarre is 15-9 overall. Gulf Breeze won the first 7 of 8 games in this series. So that's 14 of the last 16 Navarre has beaten Gulf Breeze in the Publix Beach Bowl Cup. And this will be game number 25. The most games against an appointment in Navarre history is against Gulf Breeze. And Pace is right behind there with 22 games. So a big matchup. And we got a couple of records that one that may fall this week. Hunter Feaster comes into this game. 33 career touchdown passes. The leader is 34. Marlon Courtney, the third from 2018 and 2019 with 34. So Hunter is only 1 touchdown pass away from tying Marlon Courtney's record. And with a couple, he will break it. Hunter is also 4th in career passing yards with 3,361 in the 3 seasons that he has played quarterback for Navarre. He's got the 3rd most completions in Raider history with 225 and the 3rd most pass attempts, but 3 more, and he'll pass Marlon Courtney and move into number 2 all time with not much effort in being able to chase down Matthew Webb, who had almost 600 in his career at Navarre. So Hunter with 413, Marlon Courtney with 415 passing attempts in their careers. Rushing touchdowns in Navarre history. Well, you got one young man here. Connor Matthews with 18 on the season. He stands 5th overall behind only Michael Carter, Dwayne Carter, who did it twice, more than that, and Jay Warren with 19. Connor's also number 5 in career rushing touchdowns with 20. And let's look at some more numbers here. Terrence Marshall, number 4 in receiving yards all time with 1,579, only behind, listen to these names, Dante Wright, Jordan Leggett, and Brad Leggett. Terrence is moving to 3rd all-time in receiving touchdowns with 14, only behind Dante Wright and Brad Leggett. And Terrence has moved into 6th all-time with 84 career receptions. And scoring points, rushing touchdowns, Connor's done it twice, 4 in a game twice this year. Connor has moved into 8th all-time for points in a season with 108, only behind Michael Carter, Dante Wright, Dwayne Carter, Dante Wright, Dwayne Carter, and Jay Warren. A lot of big numbers there. Connor is reaching some very good company in Navarre history when you mention the likes of Michael Carter, Dante Wright, Dwayne Carter, Patrick Hess, the early days of Navarre football, Jay Warren, Brad Leggett. 108 points in a season. It's not easy to score 100 points in a season when teams start to build up their offense to stop you. 108 points in a season is a very good year for most backs. We have 2 more games to go, so Connor can build on those numbers going forward. The job that, like I already said, Tyler Daniel, 37 of 37 on extra points, 7 of 8 field goals. He's already scored 58 points for Navarre. He's the second leading scorer on Navarre's team this year. Only a junior. I mentioned all these guys. Well, Connor, Anthony Gasaway, Joshua Wilson, Vinny Villanova, they're all juniors. And they're going to be back for his senior year. In fact, all 4 linebackers for Navarre are juniors. So their whole linebacking core are all coming back next year. And the way that they have improved this year, it's been great to watch. And I'm blessed to be able to call Navarre football games. And my main purpose coming into this was be the one here to tell their story. And that's all. It's not about me, folks. It's about these young men that their blood, sweat, and tears, their injuries they come back from, the days that they don't want to get up and get out of bed because they're banged up as the season goes on. They get all the credit. I'm just here to tell their story, and Bob and I are blessed to be able to do that. But we'll get to defensive stats as at the end of the year because it's kind of hard to keep up with the defensive stats as it goes on. But we can't take away from the defensive performances, especially last week. Easy Gasca with 7 quarterback hurries. Big sacks from Joshua Wilson and Vinny Villanova at key moments of that game. It's been great. Was a little curious after the first 2 games dropping to 0-2. The tough loss at home to Catholic, the road loss to Pine Forest. But you know what? Coach Walls has regrouped his team. They never look down on themselves after an 0-2 start. Something that doesn't happen very often at Navarre. And Coach Walls got them back looking at the big picture. Hadn't played a district game in those first 2. So that the road was still ahead. And they picked up their knapsack, put it on their back. And another thing I'd like to say about this team is, and what Coach Walls' philosophy, it is a team game. These young men, everyone that I've had here on the show on this Wednesday night, it's not about them. It's about the team. And what's the old saying, what's team stands for? Together, everyone achieves more. Yeah, that's what this team's doing. Together, they're achieving more. And I'm only excited to look at the road ahead. Gulf Breeze this week, go on to Niceville in week 10 or week 11. And then off to the playoffs, where hopefully when they get to win this Friday night, they'll be hosting in their first round of the state playoffs. And it's always fun to play at Bennett C. Russell Stadium. I'm gonna go ahead and let Paul continue eating. We're going to get Paul back in here for some parting words. And we're going to go ahead and call this a night, but we're going to get Paul back in here for just a moment. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Each and every Wednesday night, Paul brought this to attention that Coach Walls wanted to do a show on Wednesday night, so we had to make some adjustments along the way and move our Wednesday night show at Culver's to Tuesday night, and it's turned out pretty good. Even though I don't get as much sleep as I usually do in the past years, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, then Saturday night college football show. But it's been fun this year, hasn't it, Paul?
It's been great. It's been a lot of fun. I think Coach Walls, that you mentioned, he actually brought it up last year, and it was we didn't have enough time to put it together, and then Buffalo Wild Wings came to town. Coach said, "Can we do a coaches show?" Braden Hills, the manager, has been great about letting us do this, and it just took off from there.
And we got the best view. I mean, look at all this. We got TVs everywhere. If there's a sport on, any kind of sport, it's on here. And Friday night, you get to come. If you don't come to the game, you can come over here to Buffalo Wild Wings or over to Culver's and watch the game, or you can stay at home and watch it on your smart TV. We come into your room, irishbillsports.com, Irish Bill Sports Live. I love the interaction on the chats as well. It lets me know who's out there, and it's been a fun year watching these guys get better every game.
It has been. We were just talking about that over here. Is that there were some naysayers who not mentioning any names, but some folks that said that we wouldn't win more than one game this year, and that 2 at the most. And here we are at 6-2. It's been fun to watch. The defense we mentioned before is just blossoming. They get better every week, and the offense is really clicking. We knew the offense was going to put up points, but Hunter's playing efficiently and strong, and the running backs, you had 2 of them on tonight, are doing a great job. The O-line, phenomenal.
Oh, the O-line, I mean, we can't say enough about them. For Charlie Cantrell, he's the captain of that offensive line at center. You have Jacob Walsh, Cameron Pollard, then on the outsides, Drew King, and then the big man over on with the golden locks, Jackson Spalla. We had them on last week. It's nice to have the big Bubbas on here. But the job the tight ends have been doing as well. B.B. Brown, Jack Helton has really stepped up.
He has.
Doesn't get a whole lot of playing time, but when he does, he always makes an impact.
He's blocked really well, and he's efficient, as a tight end. And I think the 2 receptions he's had, one's been for a touchdown, and the other one was that huge first down.
Most definitely. Game. And if they need him, he'll even move over on the defensive line and play a little D as well.
Yeah,
Jacob Crowder out there as well. 3 tight ends. They all block efficiently, but also the receivers do a great job of blocking as well downfield.
Yep, they do. Darius or Nate Hansen, Darius at the beginning of the year, but then
Terrence Marshall, Tyrell Marshall, Rylan Reynolds has really stepped up last week, but he had a big game against Milton. It's nice to see these guys come together.
It really is. The whole team is, different guys have stepped up at different times, and we're a little bit banged up after the Pace game, but just talking to Connor on the side and said, Monday they were a little flat. They came out flat, a little hangover of the Pace win, but now they're locked in and ready to beat Gulf Breeze.
Well, I asked Anthony when he was up here, I said, you have 4 running backs there, all juniors. You had 5 last year before Eddie went over to Fort Walton Beach. But you got all of them kind of have a lot of the same hard-nosed running style. You got Connor, though, has a little bit more moves, a little bit more stronger legs. I don't know how much stronger. I mean, looking at Anthony Gasway, his leg's pretty strong over there, too. And Andre Spence, they all run hard.
They do. And, Coach Hemme did a great job of breaking down the different running styles. Even though they all run hard, Josh hits the holes and shifty, a little bit shiftier. Anthony can bowl over people as Connor can, and Andre can do both. I mean, you look at that pooch kick he took, as a running back, took that, saw the hole in front of him, and it was 60 yards. And
what is it Vinny said that mostly they tell him to just catch the ball and get possession because he said he's glad he didn't kick it to the other side.
Well, we joked about that with Coach Walls, and Coach said Vinny's closing speed on the sack was pretty fast, so he probably could have taken that ball. And
most definitely,
I'm sure he would love to have had it kicked to him.
But that was a big momentum turner after Pace got their first lead of the game, and this return game of Navarre has to be messing with special teams coaches' heads.
It's going to be really interesting this week because Gulf Breeze, as you know, they like to do a lot of sky kicks, pooch kicks, and a ton of onside kicks. So I know that our guys have been practicing for that all week and made some alignment changes. And, you've seen Nate Hansen go to the house. You've seen Andre Spence. They don't want to kick it to Terrence or Tyrell.
Why would you?
Yeah. So,
but it's been great, and I like how they make adjustments depending on what direction they're lining up to kick. They'll move each other around in different spots just to kind of mess with the kickers and special teams' heads.
And you're going to see more of that this week from what I've seen.
I see a big win out of Navarre this week, and their 7th district title for Coach Jay Walls in his 12th year. That's over 50% of his seasons. He will have a district win. And I believe it will be his 9th trip to the playoffs once they win Friday night. Looking forward to at least 3 more games,
Score
including
prediction.
this one.
Give me your
Score prediction this week. Well, I'm not going to predict a score, but I am one word I am going to predict, and that's pain. No,
Pain.
no.
All
I think Navarre is going to put up 50 on Gulf Breeze.
Ooh, okay, I was going to say 42-21.
I think we'll score at least 7 touchdowns in the game in different facets, run, pass, and possibly a return, maybe even a pick 6.
I'm going to predict a pick 6.
Because Battle will throw the ball probably
Across the
40 to
middle.
45 times in the game. If they can stop the running game, I know you say, Bill, they don't have a running game. That's the key. If you force them to run, you're playing right into Navarre's hands. And I'm looking at a 48 to maybe a 48 to 21 win for the Raiders.
I just said the same score. I said 42-21.
Okay.
So you're going to give him 6 more points.
I'll give him 6 more points. But that's 2 field goals, not a missed extra point, because he hasn't missed one all year.
So they run across the middle a lot with number 7.
Bryson Roulier.
And, so I think Andre or Vinny, pick 6. I'm calling it right now. One of those 2 guys is going to pick one of those.
I like it.
One of those passes off and go for 6.
So. They have about 5 or 6 receivers that can catch the ball, and they will test Navarre secondary. That it'll be time for the defensive, the linebackers, to stay in their lanes, dropping coverage when they need to, and a pick 6, I like it.
Yeah. I'll give you one more trivial nugget, and then we can wrap it up. But number 32, Gavin Quinville for Gulf Breeze. His dad, Chad, was a member of the original Pensacola Ice Pilots. And he's from Agawam or Holyoke, Massachusetts, near where I grew up, in the same business as me. He was a scrappy 5'9" hockey player and very much like his son Gavin. So just a little trivia.
Well, you brought right up my alley. Opening night, 1996. I was in attendance with my lovely bride for opening night. There was 8,200 fans
at the Ice
that
Pilots.
filled the Ice Pilots arena. And what a night that was. That was the start of hockey in Pensacola.
And he was in that game.
And it's been going strong ever since. So I remember, Chuck, what a hockey player he was.
He was a great hockey player.
Yeah, and they had a strong team.
Yeah, he was 5'9". If he was 3 inches taller, he'd be playing in the NHL, or he would have played in the NHL.
That's what a lot of these guys, they size-wise, a little bit of speed lacking, just a little bit, and that will keep them out of the Major League Hockey scene. But they did get to play a lot of years in minor league hockey, and there's nothing like going to a minor league hockey
He'll be at the game on Friday watching his son, Chad. But
most definitely.
Unfortunately, Chad, you're going to it'll be a tough ride home. Actually, they'll have to go down 98. So.
Yeah, it's not that far.
All right.
Unlike the trip it would have been back from Carroll if we would have got a loss there. That would have been a long.
Oh, dear.
My longest ride was the playoffs. I think it was Dante Wright's senior year. We went over to St. Augustine, and they put quite a hurting on us, like 52-21. And I did that game basically by myself. And so I pack up after the game, and it's almost a 6-hour drive back home.
Tough.
And so I'm listening. I got NPR turned on, listen to every talk radio because I can't listen to music. I got to listen to talk radio, and that gets my mind, keeps my mind awake. But that was a long trip back. But hopefully we won't have to worry about that till about week 2 or 3 into the state playoffs.
Exactly. Hopefully the first game's a home game. So.
Well, Paul, I want to thank you for filling in for Bob this Wednesday night. Bob. You weren't missed. Yes, you were missed.
Oh, dear.
But, oh, dear. But thanks, Paul. And
thank you.
We're going to sign off from here. It's been a Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. I want to thank Coach Hemingway, Anthony Gassaway, Connor Matthews for coming on tonight's show. And we appreciate them taking time out of their busy schedule. And it is a school night. So it's getting a little bit late.
I got to go to Publix before it closes.
So we're going to go ahead and wind off here. Go ahead.
What I'm going to say a lot on Friday night. Touchdown!
There we go.
Raiders!
And I count on Paul to give me the defensive tackles because these old eyes sometimes don't always see the right way. But thanks again, Paul, for all that you do for Navarre Raider football. And
I enjoy it.
We wish Everett Alford all the best. But he took his dad with him. the silver lining was you came in and you filled in, and you're doing a great job in public address. And we got to become friends, and that's the most important part of it all. So for Buffalo Wild Wings, Paul Villanova, Irish Bill, we'll be back next Tuesday night from Culver's, Wednesday night from Buffalo Wild Wings, and we'll talk about a Navarre victory over the Gulf Breeze Dolphins. Have a great night, folks, and